So friends, in the first lecture we had done customer requirements. We saw the customer requirements, tried to translate those customer requirements into product specifications, and then we arrived at a block diagram. Let us see the block diagram and then we will proceed further. This is the kind of diagram we arrived at. It is a conceptual presentation of the talking book. We had already given name to our gadget. We call it talking book for the visually challenged child. So this conceptual presentation is the block diagram. In this block diagram you see there is a CPU. There are 7 switches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 switches. And there is a MP3 module with SD card and also headphones. Now this module communicates with CPU on serial bus, which is the transmit and the receive pins. They constitute the serial bus. So CPU sends something on TXD, receives something on RXD, right? So what kind of CPU would you need? A CPU which has got I/O pins, 7 input pins, 1 output pin, which is something absolutely common, and every microcontroller will have this. Most of the microcontrollers, in fact all microcontrollers, have serial communication facility called UART, Universal Asynchronous Receive Transmit, or USART, also called USART, which means Universal Synchronous Asynchronous Receive Transmit. So either of these two is good enough for us. So my CPU should have 8 input output ports or pins and 2 serial pins. So 10 pins are required for this. Then it will have 2 power supply pins, 10 plus 2, 12. Then it will have a programming pin and a reset pin, 2 more pins. So it becomes 12 plus 2, 14. So I'm looking for a CPU which will have at least 14 pins, as close to 14 as it gets. And in fact, we are not looking for anything very special, just serial communication and I/O. So you'll see that pick up any CPU, any microcontroller, it will provide you with this facility. I arrived at the simplest possible CPU I could find was ST Microelectronics. This I will show you. This is the device. Now there are options. Either I have a 32-bit device or the 32-pin device or 20-pin device. There is also 20-pin, but I will go for SOP20 because it is easy to handle. Now this device operates on 2.95 to 5.5 volts voltage range. That is fair, good for me. And it has got a UART, as we saw earlier. Most of the devices, in fact practically every CPU, every microcontroller will have a UART. It also got UART, and it has got a lot of IOs. We only need 10 IOs. In fact 8 IOs plus 2 pins for UART, that's all we want, and so it is not an issue. So we can go for this device, STM8S003 device, and its 20-pin version. That is one thing. Then second thing is, when we look at the internet, you find very commonly used device, an audio module which plays MP3, is FN M16P embedded MP3 audio module. And if you want to get a lot of information on this, you can visit this website and you can get a lot of information. I will only show you all the relevant information only. So you remember what we got from this? It works from 2.95 volts to 5.5 volts. What about this? Is it compatible? Let us see. You can see here. It's rated, it works from DC 3.3 volts to 5 volts, and typically it wants 4.2 volts. Excellent. So both devices are compatible. Whatever voltage I give them in this range, both of them will work. In fact, this is a subset of this. This goes from 2.95 to 5.5, whereas this goes from 3.3 to 5.0. So good for us. How much is the current consumption? Rated current is 15 milliamperes. Without USB flash drive, we will not use flash drive. What we will do is, we will use SD card. I can go to as big an SD card as 32 GB micro SD card I can use. And this device has, interestingly, this is the device, and this device has got a socket for the SD card. This module has got arrangement for putting in place one SD card. It has got RX-TX, and this is where this is RX pin, this is TX pin. These are the two pins with which it communicates with the microcontroller. And if you look at this DAC left and DAC right, audio output right channel and audio output left channel. This is a drive, earphone and amplifier. Drive, earphone and amplifier. You can directly use earphones, or you can have amplifier and put earphones. So it is done. So pin number 4 and 5 are for earphones. 4 and 5. DAC means digital to analog converter. R is for right and DAC, L is for left. So pin number 4, 5 I want, pin number 2, 3 I want, 2, 3 for communication, and 4, 5 for audio output. Then pin number 1 I want because I want to give it a power supply. So pin number 1 and pin number 7 are used for power supply. There is another ground wire, ground connection here. It is at pin number 10 also. That's all we want to use. So friends, we have this device and we have this device, and we will have a circuit like this. Here you will see that this is STM8S003F3P device, and to these pins I have connected switches, and to these pins I have connected the MP3 module communication port. So you can see here, this is TX. Pin number 2 is transmit pin of the microcontroller. It is connected to receive pin of the MP3 device. Similarly, the transmit pin of the MP3 device is connected to receive pin, you can see here RX, to receive pin of microcontroller. So it is like this mouth and this ear. This is mouth and this is ear. So when this talks, this listens. When this talks, this listens. So they interchange information to make sure that they are in sync. So friends, this is how we are going to use a microcontroller and MP3 module to produce the sound, so that the boy, the child, learns from whatever is contained here in this. This is where the SD card sits, and entire course material is inside this SD card. Got it? So, in the process, what we have done? In the process, we have identified components including microcontroller. We have selected also the components, and we have seen the voltage and current requirements. We have not seen the current requirement of microcontroller. So let us have a look at that. Let us go to STM device and go for its current requirement statement. Let us see power management central processing unit. Operating conditions, supply current characteristics. Let us see this. Here we see the electrical characteristics, and we are interested in knowing the current it will draw while running. So supply current in run mode, code executed from flash. There are two options. Either the code is written in a RAM, and from RAM it will pick up the code and execute. But what we are going to do is we are going to use a flash, which is a part of the microcontroller, and supply current in the run mode. We are going to use a 16 megahertz clock, and it is going to be an internal clock, not the external clock. So high speed internal RC oscillator, which gives me 16 megahertz frequency, and typically draws 3.7 milliamperes, but in the worst case it will draw 4.5 milliamperes. So now we know the current consumption of microcontroller as well as the current consumption of the MP3 module. So let us go back. We have arrived at this. And where have we reached then? What have we covered? We have gone up to identify components, select components, find voltage and current requirements, and now we had to work out the schematic. Because all the hardware is in front of us, now we can work out a schematic. So let us see. This is the kind of schematic. I will go back again and again to the description of STM8H003 microcontroller. Now we have seen that there are 7 keys. I have shown only one key, how it is interfaced. Other keys are also identically interfaced. So when you make a detailed schematic, you can repeat this kind of thing on all these pins. This is 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you will replicate this, but write the correct names, of course. You can see here that I am using pin number 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 is missing, 19 and 20. So this is where I connect the keys, the switches. And why I am not putting 18 here? Because 18 contains SWIM. SWIM means single wire interface for programming purposes. So this goes to the programming device. So I cannot use it for the I/O application. I use this pin number 1 for illuminating one LED, the purpose of which I will tell you later. So to limit the current, we are using a suitable resistance, and this LED will glow. If this pin becomes 1, this is another I/O port pin. Then we have the PD5 and PD6, port D pin 5, port D pin 6. This is transmit, this is receive, and this is receive and this is transmit. So I connect the transmit here to the receive and this transmit to this receive, and so serial communication will take place. This is RST, the reset pin. It is required for power on reset. How does it work? When you switch on power, the capacitor is initially discharged. It doesn't have any charge at all. And we know Q is equal to CV, right? We know Q is equal to CV, where Q is the charge, C is the capacitance of the capacitor, and V is the voltage across it. If Q is 0, then since C is not 0, therefore V will be 0, right? So initially this voltage is 0, and so this device receives a 0 level when you power it up initially, and then this capacitor will gradually charge from this resistance, and this voltage will rise and it will exceed the logic 1 level, and therefore this will come out of reset condition. Done? Now there is why this diode here. The diode is required when this circuit is working and you switch off power. Then what will happen? This capacitor is now fully charged because it has been working and it has got charge from R, therefore it is fully charged. Now when you switch off, this capacitor must find a way to discharge, and the fastest way to discharge is through this diode. This is power supply, it will go into power supply, and power supply has already gone to 0, therefore this capacitor will fully discharge through this path, and when you switch it on again, you are sure that it is at 0 level. So once again power on reset will happen when you switch it on. Have you followed this? So this is a conventional, in fact a standard way of providing power on reset. But remember, this pin number 4 is also connected to the programming device. Programming device, before programming, will reset it. So this pin number 4 will also go to the programming device. So pin number 18 and pin number 4 will both go to the programming device. So that's what it is. How many pins we have used? 8 pins here, 7 for switches, 1 for reset, 8, 9 for ground, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we have used 14 pins in the process, and it is a 20 pin device, so we still have 6 pins at our disposal, some of which, if necessary to expand, we can expand it also, or using those pins. Those pins have other functions also, but we are not going to use other functions. But just for your information, I thought I will tell you that it has got other functions also. There's a lot of things to read before you can really start programming. So this is about a 20 pin device, TSSOP20. You can see all the functions are given here. IOs are everywhere except where it is VCC or VDD or VSS, etc. Everywhere you have IO. So almost every pin functions as IO. Even this serial communication device, if you don't want to use it as a serial communication device, you can use as IO port. It also functions as IO port, right? So we will later on see what is the meaning of HS or O3, etc. Why X is underlined and it is bold. You will see all those things. There are various other methods of communication which are supported by this. It also supports 10-bit AD converter, but we are not going to use it. So nowadays the microcontrollers are so powerful and they support so many functions that pick up anything and you can build a really valuable, meaningful device. So in the process, my dear friends, we have completed a schematic. So if you look at our original mandate, you'll find that step 1 we have covered everything. right, up to 7. In the next lecture, we'll go for step 2. So, thank you so much.